Hello, my very good friends. On today's amazing edition of Comic Book News, Marvel and DC announced their plans to celebrate Pride Month. Writer James Tynion IV gets a brand new horror series, and Heroes Reborn ends with Heroes Return. All that plus, Crush and Lobo get a brand new miniseries, America's first female detective gets an original graphic novel, and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles get a brand new video game. So, let's get on with it. I'm Henry, and this is the news. Alright, first off, DC is celebrating LGBTQ Pride Month this June with the release of DC Pride. Now, this 80-page anthology spotlights various LGBTQIA characters within the DC universe, including Batwoman and Midnighter and Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy and Aqualad and more. That's just scratching the surface. In addition to that, these stories will be told by LGBTQIA creators, including James Tynion IV, Vita Ayala, Cinna Grace, Danny Lore, and Mariko Tamaki. And if that were not enough, this will also be the comic book debut of Dreamer, a trans woman from the Supergirl TV series. Now, for that story, it will be written by actor Nicole Maines, who plays Dreamer on the CW series. I love all of this. This is an incredible thing to put out into the world, and I'm really happy that DC is doubling down on supporting the LGBTQ community authentically by having LGBTQIA voices telling these stories. I think it's very important to shine that spotlight on these creators and these characters, and I am just willing to throw all my support behind it. I'm really excited for this book, and I hope that you pick it up as well. In addition to DC Pride, DC Comics has announced Crush and Lobo, a brand new 8-issue series that will be continuing the Pride Month celebrations. The book comes out in June and is being written by Mariko Tamaki with art by Aman Kandwelpan and follows Crush, the teenage daughter of Lobo, who has to come to terms with her hasty departure from the Teen Titans and her hasty breakup with her girlfriend, Katie. Now, she is finally going to confront Lobo for all the horrible things that he has done to her by going off into space to find him at space jail, and she's leaving a path of destruction along the way, and it's gonna be crazy. I'm really excited for this book. One, because I love Mariko Tamaki's work, and I think that she has a great grasp on a number of DC characters, but two, because Crush and Lobo are two awesome characters, and I'm really excited to finally see their story play out. I enjoyed when Crush was introduced to the Teen Titans a couple years ago, and I really like seeing her in that dynamic, but there's an inherently different dynamic when it's Lobo and Crush, when it's the two of them having to confront all of the baggage that comes from their relationship. You know, Lobo's a loner, that's kind of his whole entire thing, so he doesn't want this daughter, and she definitely doesn't want him as a dad, but they're kind of stuck with one another, so I'm really curious to see if this ends up being a heartfelt story, or if there's a lot of punching, or a little bit of both. Probably a lot of both, if we're being honest here, so I'm looking forward to it when it comes out this June. You might think that Batman is the deadliest thing hiding in the shadows of Gotham City, but you'd be wrong. This June, writer Garth Ennis and artist Liam Sharp team up for Batman Reptilian, a 6-issue miniseries coming out from DC's Black Label imprint. Now, as the name would imply, there is going to be some kind of involvement from Killer Croc, but to what extent, we don't really know yet. All we do know is that something is striking fear into the hearts of Gotham villains, and Batman has to find out what exactly it is. I think this sounds like it should be really interesting to see what Garth Ennis has to say with Batman, because he hasn't written Batman in over 20 years, and even then, it was just a couple issues of Legends of the Dark Knight back in the 90s. So it's been quite some time, and I'm sure he has more to say these days. Also, Liam Sharp is an incredible artist, and I loved the way that he depicted Batman in the Batman and Wonder Woman Brave and the Bold book a few years back, and the idea of him drawing Killer Croc just makes me really happy. So I think this book is going to be really cool, and I'm curious to see what happens when we put Killer Croc in the spotlight. DC Comics is celebrating 8 decades of the Emerald Archer this June with the release of the Green Arrow 80th Anniversary 100-page Super Spectacular. Now, this one-shot is an anthology that features multiple creators from Green Arrow's past, such as Mike Grell, Jeff Lemire, Ben Percy, Phil Hester, and Tom Taylor, as well as many creators that are new to the character, such as Nicholas Scott, Ram V, and Brandon Thomas. Joining the Battling Bowmen will be his supporting cast of Black Canary, and Arsenal, and Speedy, and Red Arrow, and Connor Hawke. I'm really excited for this one-shot. I think it's great that DC continues to make these nice little anthologies that really celebrate the legacies of some of their more tenured characters, and I think the Green Arrow has one of the best supporting casts in all of DC Comics, so I'm really happy to see that they're going to be getting the spotlight as well. So I'm looking forward to this, and I love that they're doing all those different decades variants for this. So you've got like a 40s variant, a 50s variant, 60s variant. So if you're a hardcore Green Arrow fan, this is one you have to check out. DC Comics celebrates 80 years of Wonder Woman this June with the release of Wonder Woman Black and Gold. Now, this 6-issue series is following the same vein as Batman Black and White and Superman Red and Blue, and that is telling new adventures but utilizing a limited color palette. The anthology series will feature new stories from the likes of Becky Cloonan, Ming Doyle, Amy Reeder, and AJ Mendez, better known to wrestling fans as former WWE Divas champion AJ Lee. In addition, DC has announced that they will be releasing a Wonder Woman 80th anniversary 100-page super spectacular this fall to coincide with Wonder Woman Day on October 21st. I think all of this is good news. It is a bunch of anthology adventures featuring Wonder Woman, so you get to try out a lot of different names, tell cool stories, hopefully have some fun along the way, and I love these artistically driven series that DC and Marvel have been producing lately. So if nothing else, I think it is unique, and I'm really excited to see what these stories are like. The Court of Owls attack the world of Batman the Animated Series in Batman The Adventures Continue Season 2. Now, this book is in itself a continuation of Batman The Adventures Continue Season 1, which was a continuation of Batman the Animated Series, the classic 90s cartoon. It takes modern concepts like the Court of Owls, which literally didn't exist in the 90s, and applies it to the classic cartoon to see what would happen in that world of story if, Bruce Wayne found out that there was a secret society of assassins that was manipulating everything. I don't know, but now we can find out. I think it's really fun seeing these modern ideas applied to the classic cartoon, and I really like that they brought back a lot of the classic creators such as Paul Dini and Alan Burnett from the original show and the original comic book series as well. So, if you are interested in this book, it'll be available digitally starting in May and in print in June, and you should definitely check out Batman The Adventures Continue Season 1. The greatest spies of the DC Universe are joining forces this June in the pages of Checkmate, from writer Brian Michael Bendis and artist Alex Maleev. Now, this series is a follow-up to Event Leviathan, a 2019 book by Bendis and Maleev that saw a bunch of spies fighting against other spies and terrorists, and there were explosions, and everything changed for all of the spies in the DC Universe, yielding a new version of Checkmate that is this book. It was originally planned for last year, but the Diamond Comics distribution shutdown pushed this back indefinitely. In fact, I didn't even know if we were ever going to get to read it, so I'm really happy that DC was able to salvage those plans and, put the book out there now. I'm still looking forward to it now. It's going to have Green Arrow teaming up with The Question and Manhunter and Mr. Bones as they work for Mr. King, the new head of Checkmate. But who is Mr. King? I don't know. We're going to have to read the book and we're going to have to find out. I love that DC is doing more books with their spy characters, and I always thought that Checkmate was a really cool organization. I like really big spy organizations and big evil organizations and stuff too. So hopefully we get a lot of cool stuff with that, and I'm really looking forward to it because I think Bendis and Maleev are an A+ creative team when they're put together. Marvel shows their support for the LGBTQ community this June with the release of Marvel Voices Pride. Now, this special one-shot is the latest in the Marvel Voices series and focuses on various different LGBTQ characters within the Marvel Universe, such as Mystique, Daken, Iceman, and my personal favorites, Hulkling and Wiccan. In addition, it features a number of LGBTQ creators, such as Teenie Howard, Steve Orlando, Chris Anka, and Anthony Oliveira. Same with the DC Pride special. I'm really happy that Marvel is supporting the LGBTQ community and spotlighting a number of LGBTQ characters, because I think that they're really wonderful characters, and it's really important for people to find characters that they personally identify and resonate with. So yeah, round of applause for producing this book. I think it's great, and I'm really looking forward to reading the stories inside. The world of Heroes Reborn offers up new iterations of classic heroes, but how does it change modern Marvel fan favorites? This June, Dr. Gwendolyn Stacy takes after Nighthawk in the pages of Heroes Reborn, Night-Gwen. Now, this one-shot is being written by Vita Ayala and has art by Fareed Karami, and focuses on Gwen Stacy in the guise of Nightbird, who is a vigilante crime fighter who takes after Nighthawk, and basically kind of becomes like the Heroes Reborn Batgirl, because she can't be Spider-Gwen because Spider-Man doesn't exist, so she becomes Night-Gwen. I think it sounds fun. I think it's another great story from the Heroes Reborn universe. If you're interested in Heroes Reborn, you should check this one out, and Vita Ayala always does a great job, so I'm looking forward to it. The saga of Heroes Reborn will come to an end this June in the pages of Heroes Return. Now, this oversized one-shot is being written by Jason Aaron with art by Ed McGuinness, same creative team behind Heroes Reborn. It is a playful homage to the original Heroes Reborn because the original Heroes Reborn line of books in the 90s ended with the Heroes Return line of books. So, same thing here, right? It is going to be a bit of a mystery what happens in this story because Marvel hasn't really told us that much about Heroes Reborn itself. All we know about Heroes Return is that it's got Blade, Captain America, and Thor on the cover, so I guess there's going to be some version of the Avengers fighting off against the Squadron Supreme, but we'll have to wait and see till June to find out what happens. Writer James Tynion IV and artist Alvaro Martinez Bueno tell a terrifying tale of friendship this June in the pages of The Nice House on the Lake. Now, this 12-issue series will be coming out from DC's Black Label imprint and focuses on a group of 30-somethings as they try to get away for a nice little vacation at a nice little lake house. But when they get there, they realize that the world is quickly unraveling and getting away might just be the last thing that they ever do. This sounds like a really interesting horror series. It's a terrifying tale of friendship. It's about all these people that are realizing that by growing up, they're growing apart. And I trust that James Tynion is going to do a great job with this series. Plus, Alvaro Martinez Bueno's art is always top-notch, so I know this is one book I'm definitely checking out. The world's most unlikable action star has been found dead, and now his former TV sidekicks are the only people who can figure out who done it in the 6 sidekicks of Trigger Keaton. Now, this new book will be coming out this June from writer Kyle Starks and artist Chris Schweizer and is being published through the Skybound imprint of Image Comics. It sounds like a lot of fun to me. I really like Kyle Starks' previous book, Assassination Nation, and this sounds really ridiculous. I mean, it's 6 sidekicks of Trigger Keaton. The name is filled with atmosphere, and it is advertising something called the Stuntman War, which sounds also completely ridiculous, so I'm all on board. It sounds like a lot of fun. Worth a try. Screenwriter Evan Doherty reimagines classic literary characters this June in the pages of Seven Swords. Now, this new book will be published by Aftershock Comics and has the art of Ricardo Latina and focuses on D'Artagnan, the last musketeer, as he tries to assemble a new team together to take on Cardinal Richelieu, whose quest for power has brought him into the supernatural, which is never a good thing. So now, D'Artagnan and the 7 swords that he has assembled have to take on Richelieu to stop his evil plan from, coming to be. It sounds like a really fun, swashbuckling adventure, and I think it's really great to see a literal musketeer in a comic book, just because, there's a sense of fun and whimsy to that kind of a story, and I think this looks like it's going to be really pretty. Ricardo Latina's art looks great, and yeah, check this out in June from Aftershock.
A dirty cop, a drugged-up dancer, and an angsty adolescent god are the last people that you'd ask for help. But they're the only ones who could find a missing pop star this June in The Worst Dudes.
Now, this book is being published by Dark Horse Comics and will be written by Aubrey Sitterson and features the art of Tony Gregori and promises to be a raunchy adventure. So raunchy, in fact, that Diamond Comics' previous book refused to publish one of the pages from the preview for this book because it was too much for the public to see. This sounds like a lot of fun. If you've ever read an Aubrey Sitterson book, they can get kind of crazy, so that seems like the tone that we're going to be getting here, but it also looks like a lot of fun. So if you're just looking for an absolutely bonkers action-adventure series, this is one you got to check out. The first female private detective finally gets her due this October in Better Angels, a Kate Warren adventure. Now, this original graphic novel will be coming out from the Boom Studios Archaea imprint from writer Jeff Jensen and artist George Shaw. It focuses on the very real story of Kate Warren, the first female detective of these United States of America, and how she thwarted a plot by Confederate radicals to assassinate Abraham Lincoln. It's a really incredible story, and one I actually didn't know about until I heard about this comic book, so I'm really excited to read this story, find out more about Kate, and learn about her role in saving America. HBO Max has announced that they'll be adapting the Boom Studios comic book series Slam for a new animated series. Now, Slam focuses on the world of bank trap roller derby and 2 young women who become fast friends but have that friendship threatened by the pressure of being number 1. Now, the series is being adapted for television by original co-creator Pamela Rybin, who also was one of the writers for Moana. I really liked Slam when it came out, and I liked Slam Next Jam as well, so I'm really excited to see that they're going to be adapting it into an animated series. I think that's going to be really visually unique as well, because it has such a punchy atmosphere to the comic book. So I'm very optimistic and very excited to see where this project goes. I think it could be really cool. The Heroes in a Half Shell will be back in side-scrolling action soon with the release of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. Now, this side-scrolling beat-em-up is a clear homage to the classic Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Turtles in Time arcade cabinet from back in the 90s, which I think everybody played at some point in their life. It's up in the air if you're good at that game, because I personally found it to be next to impossible to actually be good at that game, but it is endlessly fun. And this game also looks like it's going to be a lot of fun, because you can see the Turtles fighting off against the Foot Clan and Rocksteady and Bebop, and presumably Shredder himself will be involved because he's in the name of the game. I'm really excited for this game. I have no idea when it's going to come out. We did not get a release date for it, but we did get a snazzy trailer, which I have linked in the description of this video, and you guys should check it out if you haven't already seen it. It looks awesome. So that's it. Tell me, what was your favorite story that I talked about this week? Let me know in the comment section below. We could have a fun little chit chat about comics. And while you're at it, can you please like this video and share with your friends so they too can enjoy the goodness of comic book news? And while you're at it, can you please subscribe to the channel and sign up for notifications so you can stay up to date whenever I post a new video. Thank you so much for checking this video out, and if you are interested in following me, you can find me across social media at A White Cuban, where I continue to talk about comic books, or wrestling, or toys, or cats, or video games, or whatever else is floating around my mostly empty head. And if nothing else, I will always be here on Mondays with more comic book news.